And actually, that's one thing I love is your explanation that gets longer and longer and longer every time.
And I want to drop the explanation. But Stu's like, no, you've got to keep...
It's all part of the banter now.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Get Shirty, the podcast that likes to look at the little things in life which never fail to irritate. Each episode, we ask our special guest to talk about what gets them shirty at home, work and going out. Then, our off-the-cuff surprise question could take the chat anywhere. Each guest also designs their own made-to-measure shirt, which we then make. So we talk about that too. Funny that, us being tailors. It's episode 7, season 2, and already we're at the end of November. 20 episodes in, well over 20 episodes. Have you listened to them all though? I very much doubt it, but hey, you may well have done. But if you haven't, why don't you go back and check out the earlier episodes with guests like actors Nigel Betts and Sarah Moyle, another actor and fellow podcaster Mike Fenton-Stevens, and musicians like Jeff Wilkinson from Us Three and the Blue Tone singer Mark Morris. I know, we're spoiling you. We would love it if you also took a minute to subscribe to the podcast, give us a nice 5-star rating, of course, and maybe leave a review, or even better, tell us your Git Shirties in the comments, and we'll read a few out on the upcoming podcast. That's the plan. Thank you in advance for leaving those. Now to today, and if there ever was a guest to get us all having a good old-fashioned knees up, it would be today's. Lover of all things vintage and Cock-er-ney sing-along champion Tom Carradine. Having worked as a pianist and keyboard player in the West End and on musical tours, Tom moved on to being a musical director for many productions and at the Brick Lane Music Hall, no less. But it would probably be for his Cockney sing-alongs that Tom is best known, touring up and down the country and in Europe with his trusty piano, bringing his music hall style to the masses, even performing to a packed Trafalgar Square in 2024. As you'll hear, Tom is also an avid listener to the podcast, which made our day, so if I sound a bit giddy, you'll have to excuse me. Here we go then. 1 guest, 2 mics, 3 tailors, and a host of irritations. Let's get shirty. Tom, welcome to the Get Shirty podcast. It's lovely to have you here finally.
Absolutely, it's so lovely to be here. I've driven past this place or ridden past it on my bike so many times over the years. I'm embarrassed to say I've never been in.
Well, I know, and you even sent me a message. In fact, we've been in contact for a while on sort of Instagram and that sort of chatting back and forth. And I remember many moons ago you said, "Oh yeah, I will pop in." I thought, yeah. So that's the only reason we brought you on, actually. Just to, no.
It's glorious to be here.
Is it because when you go past on your Penny-Farthing, you can't see the shop because you're too high?
I can't stop on it, to be honest.
Have you ever actually gone along this road on your Penny-Farthing?
Oh, no, actually, no, I don't think I have. Not past here, no. I live in Tunbridge, so coming up that hill, Quarry Hill on the Penny-Farthing is really a no-go. I could ride my Penny-Farthing in Tunbridge Wells, top of Tunbridge Wells. I wouldn't want to go down the high street. No. Too hilly. Tunbridge is much easier when it comes to hills.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So where's the ideal spot for riding a Penny-Farthing?
Oh, I love out east of Tunbridge towards kind of Golden Green and Paddock Wood and Beltring and out to Teapot Island. That's lovely out there because it's all flat. It's all flat. It's absolutely perfect. I mean, not that you can't go up hills. Up in North Tunbridge, off the Shibburn Road, you can turn right and then cut through. And that's quite a hill. Right. But the problem is on the Penny-Farthing you can't stop. No. If you're going up a hill, you've got to keep going. You've got to commit to it.
You've got to dig in. Through.
I've got friends who do the Beachy Head Hill climb. Right. Out of Eastbourne at Beachy Head, and that's like, I want to say it's about half an hour on it, and you can't stop. No. Otherwise, you're going to fall off. Yeah. I mean, that's another level. I'm just can I say a casual penny-farthing rider?
Yeah.
It's if you can ever have a casual penny-farthing rider. But yes.
And I'm going to say that's probably the only time that phrase is going to come up on this podcast ever. But you never know. Yeah, Teapot Island as well. Nice to get Teapot Island a mention. I've never been, you know.
Oh, it's lovely for an ice cream.
Yeah.
Or a midway. There are a couple of other nice pubs on my route as well.
Yeah,
not saying I might stop at pubs for a drink, but just keep myself.
You've got to stop at
refreshed.
some point. Of course you have. But Teapot Island, I've always wanted to go, never been.
Never heard of it.
I've driven past. Yeah, so it's sort of Paddock Wood, East Peckham, that sort of way.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the locks on the Medway, isn't it? As you go further out of Tunbridge, so there's it's beautiful, really nice, little cafe there, and stop for ice cream.
Teapot Museum. I know.
I haven't been in the museum.
It's not shaped like a teapot.
Have you not?
No.
Yeah. So there's a like a vast collection of teapots on Teapot Island.
Oh, I didn't realise. I'll have to pop in next time.
Yeah. I've never been, but sad that it is. I would like to go. So yeah. I would like to see you go past the shop on the Penny-Farthing.
I will arrange that. I should do that. And actually, with your beautiful windows out the front, you'll see me waving.
Yeah.
As I yell, I can't stop! I can't stop!
Yeah. I'm moving through.
How do you stop at traffic lights?
Oh, it's not. I always joke about that. No, you can. You just need to be planning ahead, because to get on and off a Penny-Farthing, you can't. You've got to be moving. So to stop, there's a secret little step on the back above the back wheel, above the small wheel, that you put I put my left leg on, and then you grab the handlebars and scoot along to get some momentum, and then you pull yourself up. And then just to come off is exactly the way, is just to reverse of that. Feet off the pedals, you slow down, feet off the pedals, 1 foot back onto the step, and kind of step down gracefully. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Is it a fixed wheel?
Yeah, it's fixed wheel, yeah.
There's nothing about what you just said there that made me think I could do that.
Now, honestly, if you can ride a regular bike, you can ride a Penny-Farthing. You just need a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
I never thought I could, and it was through a friend of mine actually, who's a YouTuber up in London, Jules Guides. Julian McDonald. He does walking tours of London, and he said, "Oh, I've got to do a video on Penny-Farthing riding. I've got an opportunity to film with a guy who teaches Penny-Farthing riding. Would you come and do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm quite interested in giving that a go." Turns out I was a much better Penny-Farthing rider than Julian was,
Right.
which comes out in the video. But after an hour and a half of kind of training around Victoria and the back of St John Smith Square, we were riding through central London. We were through Piccadilly Circus, stopping the buses. Was it 8 of us on Penny-Farthings? It was amazing way to see London. I have to say. At that height, to be honest, amazing way to see anywhere, because you can look over people's fences.
Yeah. Stay to that lawn.
Great for anyone who's nosy. Yeah. Actually, all those lovely back roads around, on the east out of Tunbridge, out towards Yalding and whatever. Yeah, I love it, because you can freak people out by they're sitting in their garden and your head's coming across at the top of the fence.
What came first, the love of things vintage and the music, or when did all that start for you?
It's funny. When I look back on my work and career and life in general, it's really weird kind of seeing these threads come together. Funny talk about threads in a tailor shop, but the way that do I get a bonus point? Bonus point. Brilliant.
That little round of applause.
But the way that things seeds are sown or ideas are sown as you're growing up, then they all kind of come back together, and fate has a funny way of working and pulling things all together. So for me, I've always loved kind of vintage music. As a kid growing up, I not particularly musical family, though my sister played the flute and piano, and I learned piano as a kid. And my dad sang a bit. We used to do scout variety shows, scout gang shows, up in Coventry. I don't have a Cockney bone in my body, despite peddling Cockney music and musical stuff. I wasn't born in London at all.
Your secret's safe. That's right.
So born in Coventry, but did these scout gang shows and variety shows and things as a kid. So I loved, and I learned all the wartime songs. I learned all the kind of music hall songs. So for me, they're in my DNA. These are kind of songs that I've known since I was a kid. And then with it all coming together, and then actually vintage style and vintage dressing, I was always a bit eccentric as a kid. At school, always well dressed. My school uniform was always like
on point.
On point, absolutely. like everything was ironed properly. People would take the mick at me, but no, shirts ironed, and yeah, I prided myself in my appearance. And then come 40 odd years later, and then that it all comes together via a career in the theatre as a musical director and a keyboard player on theatre shows, trying to hang up my touring shoes and focus on work at home and being at home a bit more. That everything came together. I started accompanying cabaret acts on the London cabaret scene, and realised there were people out there who wear vintage clothes all day, every day. And through that, and playing at a big vintage music festival in Bedford, Twinwood. It used to be a 1940s festival, but it's spread over the years to go back as stuff. I used to play with a 1920s band, so we played there as well. They have later stuff as well. But yeah, realising that that people wore these kind of clothes all day, every day, and B, that there was this real love of vintage music, and I was like, actually, I adore this. So these threads have come together. The last 10 years I've made a full-time living from it. So
having a sort of little read about you, it was biochemistry. Am I right in that?
I wonder whether you bring that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what you studied in, wasn't it?
I did indeed, though. I don't know how much I remember. I'm good for a pub quiz.
Right.
I like general science. I'm still interested, and I do kind of follow kind of science and popular science, but yeah, I couldn't. I worked in a lab in my third year at university, and that's actually what put me off working in research. Basically, to cut a very long story short, the research project that I worked on for a year, put all my heart and soul into in this biotech company in Slough. So we worked in a lab for a year, and basically at the end of the year, the project, they stopped development on that antibody. It was bacterial fermentation of E. coli bacteria to produce antibodies in a industrial setting. So small scale batch fermentation to scaled up to these huge big fermenters to make antibodies for medicine. But yeah, they basically pulled the plug on that. I'd listened to the careers advisors at school. Basically, all the careers advisors at school said, "No, go and get a proper job."
Right.
I hate that word, proper
Proper
job.
job, yeah.
Go and get a degree and go and get a proper. And then you always have the music to fall. Well, you'll always have something to fall back on. But also, they were just like, "Well, use the music as a hobby, and you'll enjoy it." And I enjoyed science. I really did. But coming to London, to university, I went to Imperial to study. Being a great musical theatre fan, being in London, and actually one of the reasons why I chose Imperial was they had a great musical theatre society and operatic society. Yeah. So doing stuff with them, that I discovered the dark side. And thankfully, over 4 years being in London at university, met the right people, met some very old friends of mine now, and I started playing on fringe shows and rehearsals and auditions for West End things. And the rest is history.
Oh, yeah.
So it's and that's 20 odd years now. Graduated in 2004, and aside from 6 months in a call centre, charity fundraising as you do.
Yeah.
I've made every penny of my income from music, which is
fantastic.
Yeah. Pinch myself sometimes when I think that I can do that. It's great.
It is great, and you've done quite a lot of sort of theatre and all sorts.
Yeah, the theatre thing.
Les Mis and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the theatre thing was great. I did work as a musical director and a keyboard player on theatre shows for about 10 years, maybe 12 years, which would take me all over the country. So it's great for meeting people because I've played pretty much every number one venue in the country. I did work for Bill Kenwright's company for a good few years, so I did tours of Joseph and the Mason. My first tour I did was Blood Brothers,
right?
The musical. Ended up depping on Keys 3, so going in as like a substitute keyboard player on it for illness. I covered for someone while they were off ill on Keys 3 on that, and that got me in through the door for Kenwright's and Son. Then I did a year on the road with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, a year on the road with Cabaret the musical, 2 tours of Scrooge with Tommy Steele, and yeah, it was great. I mean, the touring is definitely a young person's job.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen the country, played all these fabulous venues, and but then it came to a time when I wanted to focus a bit more on work at home, ended up playing on bits and bobs in the West End, and I used to deputise, so again covering for either illness or when the musical director or the assistant musical director was up conducting, for example on Les Mis in the West End. like twice a week, the musical director will take a show off, and the assistant musical director or a cover musical director will come and conduct the show. Which means that they move up from their keyboard in the pit. So there's a seat empty. So I'd go in and
you go.
So for 4 years or so, I was playing Les Mis at least once a week, if not twice a week.
All right.
Which was great fun. I love it. But I think through that was really interesting. Doing that, I loved it. The band room banter was great. The show was fabulous. Having been a kid growing up listening to it, I adored the show, and it was an amazing thing to work on. But it is. Yeah, it's an office job. Yeah. You go in and do your job. You might, be in the band room for a little bit before the show and in the interval, but you go in, you do the job, and you come home again.
Yeah.
Whereas on tour, you're stuck in a town miles away from anywhere with everybody else in the company. So there's a real kind of touring kind of camaraderie, which I didn't really kind of feel so much in the West End.
Oh, that's interesting.
And also, it's. Again, it's not down crying the job, because it takes a certain player to be able to play the same show day in, day out.
Yeah.
But it is like a box factory, because you're producing the same box every night. The box might be slightly wonky, or the tape might be on at a slightly different angle, but the audience are coming expecting exactly the same show, and that's what the musicians and the company pride themselves in doing, reproducing that show faithfully to the original every night. So. But yeah, I'd be sitting there playing the show, and as much as fun to play, I'd be sitting there thinking about what am I going to have for my tea, or what time train I'll get home, or will there be delays on the train. Much prefer now the solo sing-along acts that I've got and tour around, because no two gigs are the same.
Yeah,
they're all different, and it all depends on the audiences and the reaction you get from them.
Talking about, so that's things you love. Now, at some point, we have got to get around to the things that perhaps you don't love quite so much.
Oh my words!
And look, it's a safe space here. You can vent as much as you like.
I have to say, I'm a bit starstruck, because I've been an avid listener of the podcast from the early days. So it's so lovely to be here. So I'm so honoured to have been.
It's great to have you here.
To have been asked, but I was thinking. As you said, to have a think around it, and I've been thinking for the last year or so. So, what am I get shirties? And I thought I was quite a balanced person, and actually certainly in a work environment, I don't get shirty or angry or tetchy or whatever. At home, maybe a little more in my own realm, but at work certainly, I kind of roll with the punches and you get on with it. But listening to the podcast, thinking, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, actually, no, I do agree with that. So actually, maybe I do get shirty more often than I think I do.
Yeah, possibly. And actually, it's quite a common thing where, as you've listened, you'd know quite a lot of guests say, well, I don't really get annoyed or shirty about anything, really. But I suppose, and as soon as you get that, like you just have, well, I suppose there's this thing. But, well, look, let's kick off. You've mentioned work. We'll talk about the shirt maybe in a little bit, because I think that's going to be a great one, actually. But yeah, so work. What are you? If you had to sort of drill down, it could be anything about work. Is there a thing about the job that you do that just gets you a bit shirty? You don't have to.
People you work with.
Yeah. No, actually, the job, I absolutely adore it. It's a real breath of fresh air, I suppose. Because, as I say, every gig's different. It's that part of it I absolutely love. I mean, I did make a run for my own back in pushing around a real piano.
Yeah.
That's
there's some great video of you doing that.
Pushing it through central London or whatever. And I'm the best dressed white van driver in the country. And lugging my piano out to events and things. But I can't. With that, I can't grumble, because I've made the rod for my own back on that. So I can't get shirty about that. But when we think about the fact that I probably do, I do certainly over 20,000 miles in the van a year now.
Wow.
It's going to have to be the Dartford crossing.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be, specifically, northbound on the Dartford crossing on a Friday morning. Not to say that it doesn't happen for the rest of the week, but very often, if I'm gigging, and of course, for my Cock-er-ney sing-along show, obviously the prime territory for that is probably from Southampton and Portsmouth in the southwest up to anywhere in kind of North Norfolk and Cambridge, the southeast.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time on a Friday, I am trying to cross the Thames on the Dartford crossing, and whatever time you leave, I've got to leave myself an extra hour because there's no guarantee that it's not going to run smoothly.
Yeah. Do you know, I'm surprised this hasn't come up sooner. Given where we are, I'm with it. I like also though that it was very specific. It wasn't just like the Dartford crossing. It's like at this time. Yeah.
I think for me it's just the unpredictability of it. I mean, I don't mind roadworks, and obviously you've got your delightful roadworks in Southborough at the moment.
Yeah.
Which
always a new shirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has it moved? Was it further down the road?
It's gone a little bit further.
I try and avoid it where possible.
Always best.
But I regularly gig in Tunbridge Wells, so this is obviously kind of like regular thoroughfare.
Yeah. So with the Dartford crossing, what I don't understand is quite often it's delayed all the way back. You get through the tunnel and there's nothing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And also,
of course, it's 4 lanes.
Indeed, 4 lanes, and isn't it
it's a delay?
Isn't it 4 lanes on the bridge coming back over? And you could be ploughing through. You might be delayed. But the bridge is coming, and there's no problems at all. Yeah. I understand that they have to close it off when they put tankers and things through.
Yeah.
But that's only once in a blue moon. I don't know. Yeah. There's no rhyme nor reason.
No, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because sometimes we have to do a route up there, and we'll use the Blackwall Tunnel as well.
Yeah. Oh, now again,
that's as bad.
Well, I used to work.
Worse.
Yeah, I used to work at Brick Lane Music Hall, which confusingly, isn't in Brick Lane anymore. It used to be when they opened years ago. It was in Brick Lane, but it's now moved out to Silvertown by the Tate and Lyle factory in North Woolwich. Okay. So often, back
on top of the Blackwall Tunnel, isn't it? The Tate and Lyle factory.
Just to the right. I mean, it's, once you're the other side, it's only a 5-minute trip to Brick Lane Music Hall, which is say out in Silvertown by London City Airport.
Right.
So actually, if you'd asked me this question pre-COVID, when I was full time at Brick Lane, then my bane of my existence would have been. But then, of course, depending on which traffic was the worst, you could either do the Blackwall or you could do Dartford. So you had an option.
An option. Yeah.
Whereas I think now for me on a Friday, if I'm going anywhere north, it's the unpredictability with it. Yeah. And sometimes it'll be backed up for miles and miles, and sometimes
Yeah.
Just
so I keep going. It's good. It's
like I can feel myself.
We can't go to Blackwall Tunnel now because you've got the ULEZ, the congestion, all those extra costs, haven't you?
No, actually, thankfully, I've got a lease van, so my van's ULEZ compliant, which is great. My previous van wasn't. Otherwise, I would have been stung for that every time I went in. Yeah. But actually, now the few times I've done Blackwall recently, again, that queue's because they're doing all the work for the other tunnel there. I mean, that's going to be amazing when that's done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, can't they add an extra one at Dartford?
Surely. Like you say, it doesn't even really seem to matter what time you get there.
No.
Like the last time I crossed coming back, we got to the bridge at about 10 o'clock at night, maybe just after, and it took us 40 minutes to go to the bridge.
I think also the fact that from a psychological point of view, certainly coming back to Tunbridge Wells, when you cross the bridge, you know it's half an hour.
Yeah.
And that's especially if I've been doing a gig up north. I was up in Tadcaster in Yorkshire. I mean, I get around.
Yeah.
I was in Tadcaster in Yorkshire the other week, and it was lovely. But it's a long drive back. But yeah, when you get to the crossing, you know, it's 15 minutes to the A21 turn off.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's another 15 minutes on. So it's just a psychological thing. And when you get, especially at night, can I complain about the Dartford crossing at night, coming back on the bridge, when they get down to 1 lane and you have no idea what's going on? I'm assuming they're fixing it.
Yeah.
Some guy hanging off the side, so hence why they go down to 1 lane.
Either that or they're all sitting in one of those little things which I always think look like airport control towers.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps they're all just sitting in there having a little laugh. Look, let's put it all down to 1 lane. Look. Doing close-ups of people's faces on the cameras as they drive through.
I'll get visions of that next time I'm coming over.
Are you old enough to go back to the throwing the money in the tunnel?
Oh yeah, indeed.
Before, remember before throwing the money, and you had to hand
it over.
No, I remember because I've been down in Tunbridge now, maybe 15, 16 years. So I remember throwing the money in.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that, because there used to be people sitting in the little kiosks that you'd hand the money to, like certainly in my family, and this may just be my family, but there never seemed to be any forethought of getting the money ready before you got there. You know you're going to have to do it, and suddenly you're there, and it's like, quick, who's got the pound? Everybody's scrabbling about. It's in the ashtray. I put it in the ashtray, but So it's not. It wasn't just me. Is that your family too?
No.
Just my family.
Just yours. Now we used to have my dad used to have a little tray.
With the coins.
You could slot the coins
Dartford
in.
Crossing.
That's proper. Or you can be a bit like me. I mean, I'm a bit tight when it comes to spending. So it's like I'm the sort of guy. I'll slow down. Like if I'm going to so I don't have to pay. If I'm coming back at night.
Yeah.
So I mean, so I don't have to.
10 o'clock.
10:30.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Just
so
slow
the
down and
Dartford
wait.
crossing. That's fair. That is fair.
Am I allowed to have that one? Is that all right?
Yeah, I mean, look,
but I mean, is that? Because we're talking about get shirty. I mean, so we're one below Tetchy.
One below Tetchy. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes if I'm in a queue and I'm, I mean, I do give myself plenty of time.
Raging.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it can get, I can get a bit road ragey.
But are you generally quite a calm driver? Or,
oh God, no.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. I'm a road rager. I'm a road rager. I might be so composed and stuff on gigs, but no. Okay. When I'm on the road, I'm afraid.
Okay. So is that, do you think, because you know you've got somewhere to be at a certain time, or is that just, you know?
I drive a white van.
Oh, yeah.
It comes with the territory, I think.
You might as well have put a crosshairs.
As well,
yeah.
No, normally I've got Radio 4 blaring.
Okay.
But
you don't get that anymore with white vans, do you?
Yeah,
people pulling over. Yeah, I've got some watches. I'm just coming back from a convention.
Carpet.
Oh, yeah.
They get rid of their carpet and speakers.
Yeah.
Oh, I did get pulled over on the way back from Brighton once by the police because there was something to do with dodgy dealings with what white vans going on.
Right.
And I had to go to the weighbridge and they did the weighbridge for the van. And the policeman who stopped me said, I'm just interested to know what you're carrying in the back of your van, sir. And I was like, you won't believe me when I tell you I've got a real upright piano and 12 inflatable bananas. And he opened the side door. Thank you, sir. Shut the door. Yeah, thanks very much.
Off you go.
Did you move that piano around on your own?
Yeah, I do.
I'm got a trolley for it, or is
it's permanently attached to old dust cart wheels. You know, like the street cleaning carts.
Right.
Two heavy duty wheels and two slightly smaller wheels on it. But yeah, she's permanently attached to that, so I push her around. I mean, I've got a hernia to prove it. She's fairly nimble. And I've got ramps and things for getting her in and out of doors and stuff. I mean, I didn't make life easy for myself. No. I could have learned to play the piccolo, or the guitarists who can rock up to a gig with just the guitar on the back. Well,
they're these things. They look like pianos. They got all that the white and the black and the white keys and stuff. But they got these dials and things on, and you can select piano sound.
Oh, these keyboards.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah.
These modern newfangled things.
And they sound really like a piano.
Can I let you into a little secret? I do have one, and I have one that fits into what I call a piano shell.
Nice.
Sham keyboard. Oh, I like that sham keyboard.
Yeah.
Which can pack down and fit into the back of the van. I don't like to use that. I like to have the ability to wander down the street while I'm turning up to my gig with a piano because or if I play care home gigs and things, it's a real difference to actually have a real piano. Cause
a lot of them have their own pianos, don't they?
Indeed. Although, my word, some of the pianos I've played over the years. Yeah. Well, we had it tuned 20 years ago. Yeah.
So it'll be fine. So what about moving your piano? Like being in the van, does that affect the tuning?
Oh yeah, it does indeed.
So do you find yourself tuning it a lot?
I can't tune it, but I get it tuned maybe once every 12 months. She's actually due for a tune now.
Right. And does she have a name?
Oh, Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Because she's a Kemble. She's a 1960s Kemble. I actually bought her off a friend of mine down on the south coast in Shoreham, who used to do a similar kind of act, but he would do kind of pub piano sing-along, but his specialism was like 80s and 90s tunes. Amazing. Right. Mark Davis with his mobile piano was a legend. And he kind of came out of that. And at that point, my old piano, I had Evie. She broke her bass bridge. There's a bit of wood that's attached to the soundboard and where the strings tune against, and there were a few cracks in there. She was kind of beyond economic repair. I had to get rid of her, and I was like, I need another piano. And Mark said, "Oh, you know what? I've got this one." He tells me that the dust cart wheels he came upon legally. I'm not entirely sure, but no questions asked. So there's probably some dustman down on the south coast in Shoreham who's like, no wheels on his cart. Evie was my first piano, which originally I used to lug about with I'd always have to have other performers on the gig with me. So a very good friend of mine, Champagne Charlie, a cabaret performer up in London, we'd gig with that in the back of my Vauxhall Mariva.
Wow.
We'd take it out of my house, we would lay it on the floor, put the back seats down and literally feed it into the back seat. No one, yeah.
Champagne Charlie and the Bubbly Boys.
Indeed, absolutely.
So you were a bubbly boy.
I was a bubbly boy, though. Yeah, and I've gigged a lot with Charlie over the years, coming up for 20 years, even before doing stuff with the band. It's but we always joke that he's Champagne Charlie. Perhaps I might be Cider Sydney. I don't have such refined drinking taste as Champagne Charlie. And actually, the sing-alongs, the Cockney sing-along kind of idea came out of when I was gigging with Charlie at Twinwood, this big vintage music festival in Bedford. And it was after hours in the pub there. There's a battered old piano. And it was a friend of ours, Dusty Limits, another cabaret performer up in London, who turned to me and said, go on, play some of the old tunes on the piano. And I started playing, and half the keys, well, it's a bit like these pianos in the care homes, half the keys weren't working, tops of the notes had all come off, and as soon as I started playing, bugs started coming out of the woodwork. But the pints of cider kept coming on the top of the piano, and I kept playing. And everyone was joining in. So, that was the kind of the seed of the idea for the sing-along. And then, well, it was the fact that just when I started playing things like Roll Out the Barrel and My Old Man Said Follow the Van, that people just joined in. They're like, you can't stop yourself. And they're kind of songs that are just in our DNA. These don't ever remember where we've learnt them from, but they're just kind of like a bit like the Beatles tunes. I don't ever remember learning them. They're just there.
Yeah.
So
it reminded me of a story actually of Roll Out. When you said Roll Out the Barrel.
Yeah.
I was on the ambulance service, and in my early days of the ambulance service, we did patient transport services. We used to go to a lot of care homes and stuff, but they had pianos.
Yep.
We went into care once, and my crewmate said, "Oh, it's a piano. I can play the piano." He went up and sat at the piano, and everybody gathered round.
Yeah.
He started playing Roll Out the Barrel.
Brilliant.
But he couldn't play the piano. And he couldn't sing. So he just smashed the keys going, "Roll out the barrel." And it was so embarrassing.
Yeah. Sounds exactly like one of my gigs.
It was quite funny. And all these old people were going, "Oh." And they just walked off. They all just left him and walked off.
There's something about music that brings you together, or around the piano and it harks back to. I appreciate it's a rose-tinted glasses view of this kind of nostalgia of times gone by. I certainly don't stand by. There's a friend of mine, Danley Wellington, who's a vintage musician in New York and wears vintage style every day. His motto is vintage style, not vintage values. Yeah, which I very much align with. It's like I'm not harking for this kind of rose-tinted glasses nostalgia. It's just there's something about this music that brings us together. We don't have that anymore of community singing anymore, I suppose. Yeah. And actually, the thing that fascinates me from a kind of social history side, or the way these songs get passed on, is the way that lyrics get changed and parodies come round, and I think we have lost a lot of that. And so, in some ways, I like to think I'm kind of flying that flag for this material and keeping it going, because, the reaction I get from gigs and when people come up to me after, say, "Oh, so glad you sang that song. I haven't heard that for years. My nan used to sing it." Or the other one is, my nan used to sing it, but she didn't sing those lyrics.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Or my uncle, who was in the army, used to sing, or the rugby team, we used to sing these lyrics. And so lots of voice notes on my phone of rude or dubious lyrics. But I love that kind of that fascinates me as well. And that's why it's from the Threads point of view, the idea that the show I do at the moment is really it's about my love for these songs and sharing them with people again, because it's about keeping these songs alive. If we don't, they're just dusty bits of sheet music that sit on a shelf.
The following is an announcement on behalf of a certain tailors based in Tunbridge Wells. Have you visited Hardman and Hemming online lately? No? Well, you should. They have a new sparkly website which tells you all about what they do and how they do it. There are examples of their work, blogs on how to look after suits, details of the services they offer, and not to mention all of the Get Shirty podcasts with additional pictures. But best of all, you can find details of the H&H Shirt Club. the shirt subscription service where a tailored shirt of your design will be delivered to your door as often as you choose. You even get one shirt free once you sign up. Not to be missed, so do pop along and go to hardmanandhemming.co.uk and sign up today. And remember, the first rule of Shirt Club is tell everyone about Shirt Club. That concludes our public announcement.
Dartford Crossing. Tick, yeah.
Yeah.
All the way through. So, look, work. What about work, rest and play? What about being at rest, being at home or when you're not working? You know, what is there
rest.
anything?
Oh, actually, one thing that's only recently kind of got me shirty, but then it harks to another thing as well, is voice recognition. The reason why, and I'm going to annoy everyone at home listening, because if they're listening through speakers, when I say this, it's gonna send everything crazy. When I at home say, "Hey Google, play BBC Radio 4," which I often do. I dread to think how many times in a day I would say that. For the last 2 weeks, it says, playing BBC Radio 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, hey Google, play BBC Radio 4. Yeah. Playing BBC Radio 1. Yeah. No!
Yeah, that is.
I don't know what's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I've changed. They went through, and this is so much so, but this goes back again about 4 years ago. Similar thing happened for a short while, and I actually got in touch with Radio 4, and I spoke to one of the producers on the Today programme, because they had a little call that people were complaining,
right.
And they said at the time, if you swore when you were saying it, saying hey Google, play BBC Radio effing 4,
yeah.
It can kind of like trigger it and it'll actually play it.
Right.
And back then it did. Now when I tried it, it said something along. I can't play BBC Radio beep 4, and Google actually censored me.
How rude!
So I don't know what's going on. But if we're talking about, but actually maybe when I've done it for 5 or 6 times in the morning, and I just want the radio on. Maybe that's a level above shirty. That's tetchy. That's possibly even.
I think.
What's above tetchy?
Well, raging almost.
Well,
but I think Google are moving away from their Home Assistant.
Oh, really?
The impression I get is that it's dying out. They're not interested in doing anything about it.
Interesting.
Really?
Well, I think so.
So much so that we have just moved to a DAB radio in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because at least I switch it on and it's always on Radio 4.
Yeah.
It's funny, but again, with the caveat behind it, I think it's just the repetition, because when it doesn't listen to you once, and you try it again, and you like, no, I'm going to take a moment, and then you say it again, and you try and be as clear, enunciate as best as possible.
Yeah.
No. And then randomly it will do it. Yeah. But then, if we're tagging on to that...
Please do.
Voice recognition on the phone.
I was just about to take it there.
Didn't Paul Zennon go there?
I think maybe he did. It's
that he was having trouble on the phone.
No, that was the Muzak as well.
Yeah.
The background Muzak.
But it is that, when it says, please state. Is this what Paul was saying? Please state the reason for your call today, and you say, I'd like to check my account balance.
Yeah.
Did you want to open a new account?
Yeah.
No, I really do not. Yeah, that is.
Well, as I said, when you give your account number, and then you get through to the person, they say, "What's your account number?" And you say, "I just gave you that. Why? You must have a record of that."
So, what's the view? Like, I sometimes stumble over myself when they say give your account number. I say I'm prone to saying 0 or 0 or. I'm stumbling thinking about it now. Or or am I meant to say O? And I know it recognises all of it, but I always have that moment where I'm going, oh no, I'm meant to be saying numbers, and then I get all confused.
Why do I mix them up? My phone number, why do I go 07 and then 0 something?
I don't know, it's strange, isn't it?
It's got 2 zeros in it. I go 07 00
Yeah, because it's never an O. That's what I mean, it's never an O.
It's madness.
And when with those machines I go, oh, they're going to want the number version.
Yeah.
With those
the number version of the number.
Yeah, but this is AI. This is just AI at the other end.
Yeah.
They'll deal with that. That's I had a thing the other day where it asked dealing with our remortgage, and I rang up and they asked for my postcode, and I was like, normally I'd say Tango November, and I'd spell it out in the just phonetic alphabet. But I was like, oh no, I don't have to do that. I could just, and I did it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But then of course I got through, and she asked me all the security questions again, even though I'd done them on the automated thing. But
you just touched on another shirty of mine, which I'd forgotten about. It's people that don't know the phonetic alphabet in business and make up their own. T for Timmy. Business people.
Love it. For the listener, me and Sam are looking at each other.
In fact, it makes it more complicated because the words they're using are actually harder to understand if they're trying to say it than the original.
If you've never been in a job where you've needed to use it,
I'm talking about business people using it on the phone, call centres and things like that.
A call centre maybe.
Yeah, actually talking to people on the phone and they're using that.
Yeah, I'm not good with it though. But then sometimes I enjoy.
M for mother, rubber. M for mother. No, M for mother. What?
I quite like seeing how ridiculous a thing I can come up. N for noddy always is the one that springs to mind straight away.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
It could be body.
It could be body.
Yeah,
you're right, Stu. You are right. You're all right.
It's time to write a new phonetic alphabet.
People think that the phonetic alphabet is just a bit of fun, and they've just it's just the first.
Oh, but then we get into
I know what our fun thing is going to be to do. So
then we get into complications because it depends on what period you're talking. Because I do World War I living history as well, and the phonetic alphabet that back then was different. So I've done a lot of work out at Talbot House in Popperinge in Belgium, which was a soldiers' kind of club just behind the lines, behind Ypres in Belgium. And it's called colloquially TOC-H, Talbot House. So the signallers' way of saying that back in the First World War was for TH was TOC-H. So again, if you're getting into a vintage or a period thing, then phonetic alphabet's completely different. Oh. While we're on the phone, the call centre thing though, can I just put in an extra one about the fact that when they say your call is very important to us, they do not mean that, do they?
No.
If it actually was important to them, they would have paid for enough staff to answer your call in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Just laying that out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Done call centre stuff. Was that inbound or outbound?
It was outbound.
That's even harder. That is harder.
And I felt dirty doing it. And it was charity. It was charity fundraising. And thankfully, all of the charities that I called for, I supported. At least I had an awareness of their work, and actually it was really interesting. And it was a rewarding thing to do. But it's quite personal when you ring someone in their own home.
Yeah. So look, there you go. Work, rest, and I think I'm with you on that.
Covered it all.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting.
Well, actually, on that one, if we're on that, can I just throw something in here?
Yeah, keep throwing them.
Just a quickie.
We'll catch them.
In that, with the whole AI trusting things on the internet, just the fact that you can't believe a word that the internet says, and the reason why I know this is if you Google me, it says I'm David Carradine's son.
Yeah, which obviously you are. You did do a big cartwheel kung fu chop as you came flying in.
I wish I could do the kung fu.
That was the first thing I said when I looked you up.
Yeah.
At home.
Sorry.
It's David Carradine's son.
And
sorry.
What was?
And it adds an extra 10 years on me. It says I'm 52. Well, that's the more offensive thing.
That really is, isn't it? How rude.
So do you think, I was looking into this, do you think Google has gone like, Tom Carradine, the name is the most famous name, but yours is the most famous picture?
It must
put the two together.
Yeah, because his information is there,
but his pictures
where he's born and his parents and his age. But and obviously, my kind of web presence is more
your image presence. Is
and that's what it's linked in. But so much so that I've even had like newspaper articles in the States come out of it. With like online
brilliant.
And there was a great one a few years ago, picture of that I posted on Instagram of me, my son, it was his 7th birthday, and my wife. And they'd taken that and they put it in our article about, Tom, David Carradine's son, Tom Carradine, this is what he does now, and his son's obviously following in his father's footsteps. And
crazy. So has the other Tom never got in contact?
No, I mean that'd be quite weird
because surely the other side of this Git Shirty is that he must be sitting there going, "Why is it never? That's not me."
So. Yeah, I never really thought
the fact that he's not done anything about it.
Yeah,
the whole Carradine family is a big family.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to be related to them, and it would probably open a few more doors. But I mean, I don't know. I don't actually know how many doors it has opened already that I didn't realise. I mean,
that's true.
I've had a few things at gigs where people come up and say, so are you related, or like, or we were just just googling, and sorry, didn't realise you don't sound like you're American. Yeah. I don't sound like I'm a Cockney either, but
it's never stopped me.
It's never stopped me.
Please tell me that you have worked out how to do a nice Cockney sing-along version of Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting. Because if you haven't, I'm definitely there.
This is the crossover I'm looking for.
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but I'm going to have to, I think, now.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder about looking on the internet, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
it really does anything.
With the whole AI thing and you fiddle around with ChatGPT?
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, because again, that's working on like old information. So like, and also it's like ChatGPT just being creative and making stuff up. So I did a trial thing a few months ago, like just asking it to put together a brief biography of me from the information it could find. And it was, I mean, a few factual things about performing at Wilton's Music Hall and my residency at Mr. Fogg's Tavern in Covent Garden and blah, 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 and these kind of things. But then it was saying that I performed here and there and I was doing this and that. And like, the way we feel like we're going, I don't know, I feel like the world is going in this reliance on creating content creation from AI. Just makes me wonder that back when I was growing up, if you wanted to make sure something was right, you'd go to a book in the library. If it was I remember the teacher, if it was printed in a book in the library, it's true and correct. It's fact. Someone's fact-checked it. But then again, now anybody can publish anything online, or even in a book now, I suppose.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And actually, in my kind of with my historical head on and the kind of research that I do for the music hall songs and with my kind of archive of vintage sheet music, I often get people talking to me about like kind of apocryphal stories that they've heard about music hall things, and I'm like, well, no, the real truth behind that story is this. I mean, there's one there's a place up in Easton Grange up in Essex, which has the Countess of, I think it's Countess of Warwick or something, who was named Daisy, and there's this kind of apocryphal story that Daisy Bell, the song, was written about her. Right. Bicycle Built for Two, but it was written about Daisy, the Countess of whatever. But in my research, reading a contemporary newspaper article it was written in 1892. I think it was a couple of years later in a newspaper. Harry Dacre, the guy who wrote it, explained. So he was an Englishman, emigrated to America. He'd already written it in the UK. When he got to the States, he tried to sell the song, and it was about originally it was a donkey cart made for two. But they don't have donkeys and carts in America. It's all mules and wagons. So he changed it to a bicycle built for two because there was a travelling salesman came around on a bicycle and he was like, oh, brilliant, inspiration, I'm going to put it into a song. And that was the inspiration. And there's nowhere in that explanation that he based it on this Daisy of...
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those ones that has just kind of gone into kind of common parlance. And so and again, there's another very famous musical fact about the fact that Mari Lloyd once sang, the queen of the musicals once sang a song, She Sits Amongst the Cabbages and Peas. And that she was up against the, but the story goes that she was up against the like Lord Chamberlain's office or whoever it was, the licensing people, and so she changed it to She Sits Amongst the Cabbages and Leeks.
Right.
So it's a great story, but in all my research, it doesn't exist.
What, she sits amongst the cabbages and leaks?
Yeah.
Or she sits amongst the cabbages and leaks?
Well, again, as with all the Mari Lloyd stuff, it's all about the wink and a nudge. She'd never had her ticket punched before. Those kind of. It was just a song about a young girl going on the railways.
Play. We haven't done going out. We've still got Get Shirties. Have we done going out?
No. When do I get a chance? When do I get a chance to go out? No, I do.
I do. Yeah, what have we done rest? Home.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. That was AI, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see? You looked at me then as if to say, yeah.
I'm not listening.
You can all fix it in the edit. You can fix it in the edit. That's what it's all about.
I'll tell you what. see, of course, you're getting to see both sides now.
Absolutely.
Now you know how much.
The 6 hours that we've been talking already. I mean, Stuart,
and you're not leaving until we've got.
You're a brave man to be able to edit this down to an hour-long episode.
I know. He does a grand job.
Absolutely, very impressed.
I know. Very, very, very professional he is. Yeah. So we haven't done
play.
Yeah, play. So going out.
I do.
Going out. I suppose that could even encompass your work, couldn't it?
It does indeed, and actually, that's one of the problems with the. Obviously, what I do is quite a sociable job, and I'm out and I'm kind of gigging and making sure that everyone has a fabulous time. But unfortunately, that doesn't mean sometimes that I don't get to. Yeah, I don't get to have that myself. Yeah. But I've been a bit more ruthless with having time off and going out with my wife and my son to enjoy that time together. But yeah, actually, as we're in the tailor shop, I think one of my get shirty for play is fashion faux pas.
All right.
Things like. Well, just checking, just double checking. I went to see a concert at Carradine Hall earlier in the year, up in Sloane Square, and there was a guy wearing a dinner jacket on stage. Brilliant, and actually it fit quite well. Whatever. But when he turned around, the tacking stitches were still in the vent on the back. I know.
Yeah.
So
no.
Those kind, or someone wearing a tweed jacket with a label still on the sleeve.
I can't work
That's
out.
a
fashion thing. I think.
Yeah, but
the little tag thing.
It's a bad fashion thing if it is. I can't work out if it's like sort of they're trying to do like some sort of humble brag. Look at who I'm wearing. But I don't know. I'm with you.
I completely I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but putting a jacket on and seeing these tacking stitches in the vents just to keep them closed.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you think that they've just got to come out?
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's I'm all for something I talk about quite a lot with customers is look, someone will say, "Oh, should I have this? Should I do that?" And I would say, "Well, look, you do whatever you like.
Absolutely.
It's your garment. Fashion and style, they're different things.
They are.
You
indeed.
can have a style, and it's not necessarily going to be in fashion. Find your own style. Do what you like. But, and the but is, with things like those stitches, take them out.
Yeah.
The labels, get rid of them because that's not, that's just not paying attention to what you're doing.
I'm with you. I think it's simple things just to make you look good, and it's those little things that can make a difference.
Yeah.
I think, and again, because I'm wearing vintage or vintage style clothes all day, every day. I'm well aware of kind of rules, the rules in fashion.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm a firm believer in that rules are there to be broken, and as long as you kind of know them, you can mix it up. You can do something a bit different. But I think my issue is with things that just make people look wrong. That lovely picture of Donald Trump coming over in white tie for a Queen's do, and he looks awful. How on earth did his tailor let him?
Yeah.
Go out with the waistcoat hanging so far below the tailcoat.
It was awful, wasn't it? It was awful.
And equally, a lot of stuff that I do on the kind of vintage scene, with people wearing white tie and just this the design of it is the waistcoat's there just to be underneath, so you don't see that band underneath.
Yeah.
And then don't get me started on modern suits showing your midriff off. Waistcoats that come up here with a bit of shirt coming out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
I don't.
We keep trying to
Your
stop
face
that.
was a picture there.
I don't understand.
It looks too small. They just look too small.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think.
Who was that? It was Loki. Wasn't it? It was who's the guy who plays Loki?
Oh my God! Now, as soon as you said that, it's gone.
What's his name?
Sam's on it.
Come on, Google.
Honestly, that's
Keeping
shocking.
us on track.
I don't know.
Earlier.
Yeah.
He sort of started. I didn't have really short.
Yeah. There's a lot of
short
people.
waistcoats. I don't mind.
Tom Hiddleston.
Short waistcoats.
So you got
that's fine, but you've got to have high-waisted trousers.
high-waisted
Short
trousers.
and tight.
Yeah.
Really tight.
Yeah.
So the buttons stretch.
Clothes are too tight. And one of my bugbears is, so as a tailor, I like to show a lot of shirt cuff.
Yeah.
I like to, and I will aim to do that.
Yep.
For my customers as well. And I'll talk to my customers. But that is, at the end of the day, a preference. Some people don't like to show shirt cuff at all or much. That doesn't mean that your sleeve should end past your knuckles. So only the tips of your fingers are sticking out. Because just looks wrong.
Too long.
Looks ill-fitted. Looks like it's not your jacket. It looks like you borrowed somebody else's jacket. And the minute your clothes start doing that, you know, it's So look, you're speaking to preaching to the converted with that one. Yeah, it's funny actually though, isn't it? That those little things like, I don't know, leaving labels on the bottom of your shoes.
There's things that again, we go back to fashion. Things that I don't particularly like to look at. So like skinny trousers with that are finish halfway up your calf with loads of socks showing and shit.
And loafers.
Or
suits with no socks.
Or suits with no socks. I know.
that
but
gets
equally,
the noise.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
But with those things, they don't get me shitty because I appreciate they're a style, they're a choice. They're a choice. But when certainly that showing the midriff off with the shirt kind of billowing out. And it's sometimes it's with them suit hire companies for weddings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how on earth did you let these groomsmen come out of your shop with such badly? I mean, I appreciate that the trousers all sit quite low.
Yeah.
And if you're wearing a belt or whatever, then. But I mean, I wouldn't ever dream of showing my belt underneath my waistcoat. Yeah. Well, hence why I wear braces a lot.
Yeah.
But just that kind of. It's proportions and...
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, I don't like to speak ill of anybody else in the trade, but sometimes when I look at what does leave some people's places, and I think, and you're charging people for that. Yeah. You know, it's infuriating, actually.
Indeed.
You know, me and Sam are forever, well, all of us are forever looking at something on Instagram and going, look at that. And that they've let that go out. Yeah, how are they doing that? Why are they doing that? So, listeners, find yourself your own style and also a tailor who will look after you, you know, and look after
wise word. As we were saying earlier on about pulling together ideas for a shirt.
Yeah.
That some people might the shirt that I've chosen, some people might consider that as quite smart, but actually for me it's quite casual.
Well, I suppose this highlights it quite well. You said, well, I'm looking for, perhaps I'll get something, for when I'm being a bit more sort of relaxed, a bit more casual. But so the tie I'd wear, and that was the next thing you said, It wasn't like, so
what sort of shirt did we go for then?
So it's go for it.
Was it a green and burgundy, like tattersall check?
Yeah.
A fairly big check, so that kind of country gent style, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Very nice.
So for me, what I'd consider as a casual shirt.
Yeah, you've gone for a sort of shorter collar, which would look nice with a tie, a little rounded. A little cuff.
Oh, and actually, on your suggestion, and again to have something slightly different to what I'd normally go with, and with a contrast collar on the inside, a little bit of burgundy on the inside of the cuffs as well.
Yeah.
Just again, just something I wouldn't normally go for. So.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to sort of test things out and find something that could open up little new areas for you.
Because I've never really been adventurous, despite wearing clothes like this and kind of wearing vintage stuff. And for me, it's always in the hunt. So I'm always often pulling together an outfit. I've got a few kind of outfits that really work well together. I've got a lovely morning tailcoat that I got from the Western Costume Company. Actually, they're an American Hollywood costume company that I picked up from a vintage shop in London, with a beautiful it's a grey kind of dove grey tailcoat cutaway with piping around the outside, but all the kind of accessories and that is kind of it's been built over years. It's like it didn't all come at once.
Yeah.
So. Again, with a kind of finding vintage clothes, it's always playing the long game. I might pick a waistcoat up here, I might pick a pair of trousers up, and it's only when I find a pocket square that goes with the jacket that it all kind of pulls together. So actually, this is really it's a bizarre thing for me.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, no, do you wear bespoke clothes or made to measure?" Well, no, I've worn a lot of bespoke clothes in the past. Lots of Savile Row suits and things over the years. But they've never been bespoke for me. Yeah. I've had them tailored. I've had them got a fantastic alterations tailor up in London, so have them altered. And again, that's the thing about having the eye for like what actually this jacket might fit fine across the shoulders, but the sleeves are a bit long, or whatever. So or actually having a tailor's eye to go, actually on that waistcoat, if we pull it in a bit, it will take some of the material out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been quite exciting today to actually be able to have a choice. Yeah. Whereas normally it's like, well, that's
I found that.
I found that.
Go with that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been very exciting. Thank you.
It was nice.
If you're out all day in your vintage clothes, you don't go home and put your jammies on. Then do you change when you go home and relax?
Yeah, probably.
You're a jammies man or just a different type?
Well, I do have one of my. Actually, it's just about the time to change over. I've got some lovely pyjamas from Darcy Clothing, a company down in Lewis who make like reproduction stuff for theatre.
Yeah, they're very good.
And they've got some lovely kind of like heavy cotton pyjamas that I've got kind of like an Edwardian cut, which are lovely, and I wear those for living history stuff as well. But I do have like a wee Willy Winky Victorian nightshirt with the wee Willy Winky cap.
Nice.
And I have to say, if it's cold, and our bedroom at the front of the house is so cold, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, it's so nice to put that on, and yeah, with my little wee Willy Winky cap.
Yeah. And do you let the tash? Or do you put things on the ends to keep it?
Corks on the ends. I sleep in it like this. I just sleep like this, and I wash it out in the shower in the morning.
Right. Okay.
So when I come out of bed, one end might be up, one end might be down. Or like when it's like when it's been longer. I mean, it was out here the other day. I had a trim, but when it's long, it might be all over the place. But I wash it out in the shower and then re-wax it. I don't always wax. Post-COVID, again, with all the whole wearing masks thing, I kind of actually came to a peace with being able to wear it unwaxed. But I do look a bit Dick Strawbridge.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
It's like a walrus.
Hello, it's Santa here. And I've been getting lots of letters from people who don't know what to get loved ones for Christmas, so I thought I'd lend a hand with some ideas. Well, how about popping onto the Hardman and Hemming website? That's www.hardmanandhemming.co.uk and getting some of their wonderful socks, or maybe a pair of cufflinks. Or, even better, why not buy that special person one of their shirt gift vouchers? Then they can be just like a guest on the Get Shirty podcast. With their vouchers, they can then design their own shirt, pick the cloth and details, and pop in a few measures, and hey presto, their very own Get Shirty shirt. I do hope Mrs. Claus has got a shirt voucher for me. I have terrible trouble finding things that fit. Too many mince pies. I hope that helps. Don't get too shirty. Merry Christmas!
Well, look, here it is.
Oh, I'm excited now.
Here it is.
Before we have you gone through all your notes?
I think so. Yeah.
Shirties out.
Did I get?
Don't want to leave any shirties.
Oh, what? No, the list falls out. No.
Yeah. Do you know the last person, or one of maybe the last person to bring notes and a list was Tony.
I thought it was Phil.
Phil.
Didn't he have a little list?
Oh, Phil did, yeah. I was going to say Tony.
Tony Rod.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
And he likes his vintage.
He does.
And his moustache.
Well, we're both members of the Handlebar Moustache Club of Great Britain.
Yeah. Do you know that is in my notes that I found.
So no, Tony, and actually, his lovely wife Becky as well.
Yeah.
We're mutual friends. We've met a lot on the scene over the years. So
he's a lovely chap. In fact, I haven't been to his new place yet.
No, me neither.
Yeah, well, we're due to go down there, but whether we will. Right, I'll stop shaking the hat.
The hat.
Pop, 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 pop. There might be music.
There will be background.
Yeah. So you might have to cut the hat.
There's a new piece of background music for this. Off the cuff coffee hat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course there is. Yeah, there is.
Specially made.
New bit of music. So
exciting.
Here we go. Do you want the explanation or not?
I don't need the explanation.
No, I know you don't need it.
But do you need to give?
Stu always likes. So
the readers.
for the listeners. So we've reached the off the cuff section. So the question which will bring out a subject which you know nothing about from the hattie. What should we call it this week? The cuffy hat, the hattie cuff, as denoted by. Back in the day, we decided to do an off the cuff. This is purely for Stuart at this point.
Yep.
An off the cuff question because it worked with the title. Get shirty, off the cuff. Haha, that's funny. How do we get that to our guest
It's also for
in a random way?
Who may only be listening to this one.
Yeah, that's
absolutely,
true.
indeed.
That is true, actually. So we thought, well, actually, look, here's a new bit of information in this story. It was just before a guest was going to come in, and we thought, how do we do this? I went, oh no, we'll put them in the hat. We'll put them in the hat.
We thought about it off the cuff.
We thought about it off the cuff. The solution we came up with was non-shirt based. It was a bowler hat. And as we've said many times, if we hadn't have ever mentioned this, no one would question it.
Indeed.
Just pick it from a hat.
Tom Bowler.
I like it.
Oh, nice.
Can I just throw a spanner in the works here?
Please
now,
do.
in the fact that you've picked that bowler hat off of your beautiful bureau over there,
Yeah.
which underneath the bowler hat was a collar box.
Yeah. I know.
Could you not put them in the collar box and have it what gets you hot under the collar?
Oh, come on. Yeah, look, that.
You know, how long have you been doing the podcast now? I've been waiting all this time to say it.
I forgot that was
But also
Yeah.
the fact that yeah, I've got collar boxes.
Yeah. Have you got any? Yeah.
But equally, you can get shirt cuff
I was
boxes.
going to say, have you got any?
I don't have any. I've got friends who do the detachable
Because
cuff thing.
that has been a thought in the past, and I was out somewhere the other day in an antique shop, and they had more collar boxes, and I thought, I wonder if they've got any cuff boxes, and then that solves the problem. But yeah, if you'd have said, oh yeah, and I've got a spare one at home. Hello. Yeah, I quite like.
But then maybe that's a. Oh, but
No. So here we go. Look, here we go. So this is the birth of something here. We do have a Patreon page.
Oh.
And we keep talking about extra things to do if anybody wants to go on the Patreon. Perhaps we should have a hot under the collar, which is a next level question. Like from get shirty to rage, maybe. Or
then we can talk about my road rage.
You know, like a cheeky question.
A little wink and a nudge cheeky question.
Yeah.
Just for the subscribers.
So you're up to the point now where you've explained that we just thought about it.
Oh, have I not finished the explanation?
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. So,
Sorry.
In a rush, let's put them in a hat. That will do it. And I think it was actually just before Adam Buxton came in, which is where the original explanation started. So Adam Buxton came up with lots of suggestions about other ways in which we could present them, clip them to a cuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan
Not
of
like
it,
a
I'll be
giant
honest.
comedy like Harry Hill cuff.
See, that would be all right
Yeah.
too. You know, or a giant cuff where they sort of appeared,
Oh, I like
dangled
that.
down. We had to call them on like some sort of dove from above thing with Vic Reeves. You know, there's all sorts of ways that we could do it. But actually, do you know what? Is that enough explanation? Anyway, so the cuffy hat was born,
Cuffy hat.
and we decided to always keep them in the hat and always do the explanation. Apparently, we have to do.
In case people are just listening for the first time.
Yeah, that's true. But what I quite like about it as well is now every guest now is coming up with good other things. There could be a whole nother podcast.
Spin-off series.
Yeah, get shirty.
Have you got an OnlyFans yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. That could be the hot under the collar, couldn't it?
Yeah, I've got an OnlyFans, haven't I?
Oh yeah,
I did put a link in it.
yeah. You and Lily Allen. Perhaps, yeah, we could do an OnlyFans with our guests that were willing, just in their shirts, maybe.
Well, on that note, if people are Googling, they do at the Green Duck in Tunbridge Wells, where I regularly talk, they do have naked sing-alongs.
Do they?
But that's not me.
Is it
I have
not?
to put that out there. That is not me.
Oh, okay.
That's a chum of mine from London, Luke Meredith. He's got previous for it.
Do you have to be naked to sing along?
Yeah.
Is it the person doing the sing along?
No, naked, like nudists, naturists. Yeah.
How do you know? You've been doing it.
Sam knows everything. Sam knows everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that you because is that the place up on the left? Have they got the one on the other side of the road now?
No, they've sold that, but yeah,
Just
up on the left-hand side, opposite the music shop and
yeah. Right, here we go then. What are you going to
This
get?
is exciting.
I know.
Pick a good one. What have we got? Banks. Oh my word. Well, you're talking to a man from Tunbridge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what it's like here. Well, I'm just, of course, the lovely Lloyd's TSB that was over the road.
It was. You know, when I took over this shop, I didn't bank with Lloyd's at the time, and I thought, you know, it'd be sensible to move all the banking to Lloyd's because there's a Lloyd's bank just over the road. 2 weeks later, shut.
Well, that's why they shut it.
Is that why? Yeah. Do you know the biggest travesty? Sorry to jump all over.
Not at all.
Yeah. Your moment here is that at the front of that bank. I mean, let's not even get started about the state that the bank is now in. But in front of that bank, there used to be a really lovely blossom tree.
Yeah.
Gone.
No.
They could have left the tree. They could have put the hoard in the other side of the tree, left the tree. No. Anyway, sadness. A little bit of beauty was lost in Southborough. Yeah, replaced by us, of course. Doing this one for it. So, banks, hit me with it. What would be your... So what is it about Tunbridge and banks that's bad?
Just lack of banks.
All gone now.
Are they all gone?
Pretty much. Well, we've got I think there's a Santander in the Santander in the pavilion. This is making loads of sense to people who don't live in Tunbridge. Well, we've probably got a couple. The Halifax, but I think that's closing.
Is it?
You
get that. You
Barclays
get the.
Is gone.
Yeah. NatWest is gone.
But
Lloyd's is
NatWest
gone.
do the-
HSBC is gone.
NatWest do the van bank by the bridge.
Now that's a confusing thing because I think Barclays do a van bank thing, but it's not for banking. It's for opening accounts. It's for advice on savings and investments.
Just promotions, really.
Absolutely. So for me as a freelance performer, as much as I hate it, I often get paid in cash, and I do, being a good boy,
Well done.
paying it into my bank account, and I have to go to the post office.
Yeah.
And of course, then don't get me started on post office because of course Tunbridge had one in the high street, which then closed for a long while, and they were looking for a new space. They had a temporary one up at the castle, which the queues were always out the door. We've got a lovely one now, just the other side of the station, and actually I haven't queued in there much, but yeah, just banks.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that everything has changed. The whole banking kind of the way we use banks has changed, but there's a real importance for certainly elderly people or people banking or business banking who still use cash and still need that contact on the high street. So
isn't it weird that, or I think it's weird, prepare yourselves now, this isn't dramatic or anything, but isn't it weird that like the banks couldn't all get together and go
building.
and let's just all put money into one central place,
have a banking
Each
hub.
individual counter.
each individual counter.
Or not even that, because I'm assuming in the same way that anyone can pay into the post office, they can pay in their money into whatever account. So actually, for paying in or getting money out, it's all through one system, isn't it?
Yeah.
But some place that you could go to have that face to face, which is so important to many people.
Surely the economics of that would work.
Absolutely, you'd think so.
You do know everybody listening who banks with Metro Bank who will sit there all smug like.
Well, are they not? Are they not? Have they not? They've stopped their opening on a Saturday, haven't they?
Oh, I don't
or
know,
are they
have they?
stopping it? My son's got an account
aren't
there.
they committed to like keeping branches? Isn't that their?
Yeah, I think so. But the reason why we got it was that they were open on Saturday, so we could take Andrew. And I'm sure I had a letter saying that they're closing on a Saturday.
Still banked it.
So
they're no better.
So I mean, that's definitely a kind of getting shirty. That's it.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's a bit sad that it's over.
Thank you. I'm honoured. Thank you for having me. And from an avid listener and an avid fan, thank you very much for having me.
There we are. What a gent and what a mustache. Go check out the pictures on our website or ours or Tom's Instagram. It's quite the thing of beauty. Links, as usual, will be in the description. A huge thank you to Tom for not only being a guest but a listener too. Let's hope we didn't put him off of listening now he's met us. You never know. Thanks as always to the Get Shirty team, Dat Hazard for the music, Stuart Wilson for co-hosting, making us look good in the edit and for producing, and as always as well to Sam for keeping us in line and chipping in. Thank you to you, the listener, from me, Stuart Hardman, your host, and of course the rest of the team. It's great that you listen and we appreciate it so much. Until next time, do try not to get too shirty. Let's get shirty.
Are we allowed to do that? No, I have to cut that for copyright.
You were under so many seconds. I think we're okay with that. Yeah, and again,
I don't think any amount of time. I mean,
I thought
you can't sing the lyric at all.
Can you not?
Especially not Disney.
Right. Well,
I mean, Disney. I'm surprised there's not somebody here already from Disney.
There they are.
Yeah, let's not talk about my Mary Poppins medley. I do it.
But finally, we've had singing. I think it's nearly every podcast now.
Of course, yeah.
Nearly every
absolutely.
podcast. I can't think of.
And of that, what did I choose to sing? A couple of bars of life in a really awkward key.
Yeah.
Well, there must be something out of copyright that you can sing. Are those old vintage songs all out of copyright?
Lots of the musical stuff is, yes. So I can give you a daisy, daisy, give me your answer to. I'm half crazy. I mean, they're beautiful songs, but yeah.
Have you got a favourite?
Depends what mood I'm in.
Right.
I do love a Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.
Yeah, that's a good one. So
beautiful kind of Second World War song. But equally then I love things like My Old Man Said Follow the Van. I love all the kind of knees up stuff.
Yeah.
Oh What a Beauty. I've never seen one as big as that before.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a great one.
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So have I.
Funny that.
And what about your songs?
Well, as we've discovered, lots of the stuff that I do in the single, it's musical. It's innuendo, outuendo, and all of those.
Let's get shirty. That was a clusterfuck, wasn't it? Enjoy.